Hey everybody, Mark here. Today I'm here to talk to you about mixing drums and specifically EQing drums. Now I'm gonna be working on this track by Color Mind. It's a track that he wrote and produced, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about how we EQ the individual drums and even add a little bit of color on the overall drum sound. I personally believe that EQ is the most powerful thing that you have in your mixing arsenal. I almost always go for EQ after I balance all of my sounds in the mix. In this drum track, you're gonna notice that there's two sounds that interplay with each other. One is a clap and the other one is a percussive snare sound. I noticed when I first started listening to this track before I started mixing it, the clap sound for me sounded a little thin. And then I noticed that the percussion track, which is supposed to be more of a supportive rhythmic thing, was a little fuller than the clap sound. So for me, I would want the clap sound to be a little bit more forward and a little fuller, and then I would want the percussive sound to be a little bit more thinner. Okay, really I want to flip-flop the way that the two sounds are currently. So I'm going to show you how I do this. Now you'll notice that the first thing I do is I put an EQ on the clap track. And as a way to make it sounding less thin, I'm going to add some low mid frequencies to it. After that, I'm gonna go to the percussion sound. I'm gonna add an EQ onto that, and you're gonna notice that I first take some low frequencies out just to see if that helps make the snare feel a little less full. After I do that, I notice that, you know what, I also need to take some low mids out of it, so I do that as well. Now I'm doing this all by ear. And you might be asking yourself, well, how do you know what's right? Well, one, I've been mixing long enough to where I know the environment that I'm working in. That's really important. But another thing is having reference music, so that way you can sort of check your ears and understand what sounds full and what sounds thin. So that's one thing that you may want to try. So as I was doing this process, I did have some reference music. I had a track by The Weeknd and I had a track by Ariana Grande that I was referencing as I was working through this stuff. After I did this, I went to the kick drum because I felt the kick drum could be a little bit beefier. It wasn't bad, but you'll notice that I do add some low frequencies to the kick just to make it feel a little fuller. Now, after I did that, I went to the full drum bus. I went to the drum subgroup, and I added some of the slate tape emulation. Now I did this because the tape emulation is gonna do a few things. One, it's gonna add low end immediately, and you have the ability to control that if you want. A second thing it does is it makes the drums feel a little wider. It also adds a sense of tape compression to it, which tends to tighten or glue the drums together a little bit. And another thing that I really like about this plugin is that it adds a little bit of mid-range, so it does feel just overall a little bit more complete when I add this tape emulation plugin onto my drum bus. When you do something to the full drum bus, the things that we do on the individual drums are really, really crucial. This is why I started out EQing the individual drums first and then adding the tape emulation after that, because you want to glue together things that feel coherent already. You don't want to rely on your bus processing or your subgroup processing to do the work for you. I have found in my experience that this is the best way to get a great sound, a great mix, and ultimately a great master. Check out my website, markberrymusic.com, for more great music. Check out colormindmusic.com for more great content and also some amazing music. We'll see you guys here next time on our next video. Keep making great music, do what makes you happy, and take care.